Siapa ni?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to all of you. Thank you for coming. I think this is not a very fruitful discussion for anything, and most of people are joining us via online. So thank you to Mr. Young, Dr. Kami, and also Dr. Magat for coming. So we're going to start now. So before starting the talk, I would like to invite our Deputy Dean of IP, Mr. Rafidi, to give a welcoming speech. Thank you.
No testing. Let's get this boring part quickly done, okay? Alright, so esteemed speakers, Dr. Nicholas Kamri Aziz, founder of Human Logica, Mr. Wong Chong Sun, CEO of UU Robot Asia Senegal, Engineer Dr. Magat Zulkhairi Magat Tajuddin, Head of Competency, Innovation and Performance for JKR, all the attendees of industries relation talks. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh and good afternoon. First and foremost, welcome to Malaysian Institute of Information Technology, University Kuala Lumpur. It is with great pleasure that I welcome all the attendees of Industry Relation Talks. I want to express my appreciation and thanks to the organizers for inviting me to officiate the first Industrial Relation Talk, which is a collaboration between international, industrial, and institutional partnership. Okay, many people got this wrong, okay, including me. So it's a triple IP for short. Okay. So Fabit Solution, my IRA, and the Institution of Engineering and Technology. I would also like to thank JKR for attending and sponsoring this event. Congratulations to all committee members of the Industry Relation Talk led by Dr. Sharinas Ismail. Okay. For organizing this talk. I believe that this is going to be an annual event in UniKL MIIT for years to come. Congratulations also goes to the departments, faculties, and everyone who directly involved in this event. This industry relation talk is a solid foundation laid to introduce UniKL MIIT as the leading technical and entrepreneurial TVET university in Malaysia, as well as in the region. I believe that by conducting such industry relation talk, our staff and students can also be introduced to the current technologies, its challenges, and its failures directly by the industrial experts. Last but not least, I hope that this event will benefit all the attendees and blessed by the most merciful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thank you and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rafidi. So I think the next step will be token appreciation. Thank from Mr. Rafidi to all the speakers. He needs to go somewhere. So, okay, I would like to call upon Mr. Yao. Something from us. Thank you so much. Kamri. also Dr. Majaksana hari ini handsome one.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you guys. So in the beginning, we'd like to call upon the expert, Dr. Kamri, to his talk on deep learning.
Thank you everyone for coming today. First, I would like to say well, uh,
Speech என்னன்னு
I don't really have, um, I try my best to impart some knowledge that I have from the industry on the floor and also to my audience. Um, what I want to do today is actually I want to talk about the journey that one will have once they start going into the world of AI. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Dr. Nicholas. Um, I do customize AI solutions for the industry. So what we find is that AI is suitable for almost all industries because it creates a new paradigm in how people do business. So with that, I wanted to say, let's talk about how students look at AI, how engineers look at AI, and when we become an entrepreneur, inshallah, they carry different meaning. So that's why I have the talk entitled Deep Learning the Real World, the Bad and the Ugly. Let's start with the good. So I say the good is the academics because when you are in the academic world, you are actually you are allowed to be creative in the things that you do. You're allowed to explore, to research, and you know explore your ideas to make it realizable. So that's why I say I have a very good impression when I'm in the academic world. So this is geared towards the students. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go through some simple signal processing concepts. In this slide, actually what we show is two signals. One is a very noisy signal and one is the noise signal. So in signal processing, you can do this very simply by using a filtering process. So if the signal is in a lower band, you do some signal processing, you filter the higher bands, then you remove the noise. So noise, as you know, has a very wide spectrum. So by doing that, you remove noise. Very easy. So one of the ways to do that is by using Morley wavelets. Okay. Morley wavelets are wavelets that you can scale and you can shift. So what happens is you will be able to characterize data. So in a signal, you will know where the energy is lying. To show this, it becomes a scalegram. So a scalegram just goes through the different frequencies by scaling the Morley waveforms. And then you also go through shifting in time. So you know where the energies are. So clearly you can see here at 35 minutes, you have a lot of energy. So that's um, um, one way of characterizing the signal. Um, the only problem is it's a very analog process. So how do we create something which is more suitable for the digital space? Again, this is a very basic way of going through the denoising process. So here we introduce a discrete wavelet transform. So this discrete wavelet transform does the same thing as the scalegram, but in a very structured way. So you get some waveforms, you filter them, high pass and band pass, to get the noise out and to retain the actual signal. You have some thresholding, which is an approximation to the signal. And then because of this high pass and band pass feature, by incorporating the Nyquist theorem, you are able to actually halve the sampling rate. So it's a downsampling. So I hope people can follow. This is very basic concepts. I have a point that I'm going to address. So what this means is when you apply to something more tangible, like an image, then you can see that the image becomes smaller or compressed, but you still retain important information. Okay? So the DWT, when applied to an image, it retains certain features. I chose this picture on purpose because I wanted you to see that in this picture, the important information is retained by the edges. So the zebra can still be identified as a zebra, even though as you downsample it. So that's the point of measuring this process. So in other words, before we do any AI, what we need to do is actually we need to do some feature extraction. So by compressing data, you have you have optimized the data to a point whereby you can still have the edges retained, but the data is in a much smaller form. Okay, so the this is probably the most important part of AI. It's about getting correct data. Actually, I use images, but in truth, what you need is any kind of data. It could be a waveform, it could be images, it could be movies, but what we do is we extract those features, put them into a compressed form so it becomes very meaningful. And that is where the journey towards AI starts. So with everything that we do, um, we have to go through a process of feature extraction. Okay, so that's very academic. So what I'm trying to say here is when you're in the academic world, you play around with as much data sets as you can and be creative with them. And that is something that you have the privilege of doing when you're in the university world. I'm sure you do a lot of this in UniKL. So that's the good. So the next step, progressing from a student to a engineer, is once you have that feature extraction, you need to learn about it. So this is just not a summary, but everything that we know about neural networks. So it's how neural networks are designed. So there are literally hundreds of them. And each one of them is the output of work done by very, very smart people. Okay, so when we have the feature extraction, we actually put them through one of these neural networks. Neural networks look very fancy, but they are just numbers. They are just numbers in a metric structure. And the beauty of AI is therefore trying to understand what is the best ways in the metric structure to correctly predict your features of your labels. So this is the heart of AI. So as you can see at the very end to your left is features. So you put in all these features into a model. That model is based on the neural network that I showed just now. And that model is then compared to a prediction that you make. And that prediction is then fed back into the model. So that is the basis. So that is why when people talk about AI, they talk about statistical data. Because the more data you have, the more accurate your model becomes. Okay. Label is like what we're trying to predict it for. So if we are trying to predict cats and dogs, those are the labels. The features are what we're trying to predict. And the next step is something whereby the engineer would want to go through with skill. Actually, this comes with experience. The most important thing when you want to hit an optimization point, you really want to find the global minimum in a multi-dimensional space. Okay, so in this case, we are actually looking at a 2D curve. But in truth, when you have a huge metric structure, especially a fully connected neural network, you can actually go through n dimensions. We're talking about 100 dimensions. So when you think about it in this way, as a human being, I think it's only natural that we can think of three-dimensional space. But problems are more than three-dimensional space. They could be in hundreds of dimensions. So that's where what we need to do is we need to find a point that solves for the whole dimension. So that's the trick in AI. And they have done it in a way whereby it's a structured way. So I can give you an example. For example, in solving healthcare, for example, if you want to predict if someone has cancer or someone has a certain type of ailment, you can do that with computer vision. Okay? So it becomes a very difficult multi-dimensional problem that you solve for. That's basically AI. Okay, again, this is going back to the statistics. When you want to train data, the data must not be biased. The data must be comprehensive of your whole data set. For example, if you want to predict between cats and dogs, but your data set is 90% cats, then the data is biased. So data acquisition is very important in any industry. So I'm simplifying it to cats and dogs because it's very obvious. But you can, one of the jobs that I'm currently doing is doing pattern recognition for um, metal assets. So metal assets can be dalam tanah, can be in the wall, but with the correct sensor, you can actually see what the magnetic value is. And based on the magnetic value, you can see whether it's corroded, at the welding, at the leakages. So those are the things that we are doing right now. Right? So in order for us to give a correct data, we need to have, say, 1,000 corrosion patterns, 1,000 welding patterns. Then you can have a good accuracy when you do the prediction. So what I have shown you already in the box on top, it's reflected into what we call a CNN um, algorithm, convolutional neural network. So basically, the filtering is the convolution. The ReLU, if you can see, there's convolution plus ReLU at the bottom. ReLU is the thresholding, and pooling is the downsampling. So it's just doing DWT, but it's doing it to extract the information that's important and then to flatten it into a compressed form before you put it into the neural network. Then you can only see whether you have predicted it correctly. Everybody okay? Sorry, it's very difficult to explain AI without going into details because AI is all about numbers. So again, um, what I said, a convolutional layer, random layer, and a fully connected layer. So this is one example of AI engine for computer vision, detecting classifiers in images. So you can imagine there are hundreds upon hundreds of AI engines. And these are the privilege of huge companies like Google, Amazon, like Tesla, because they have access to huge data sets. So whoever have access to data, they are king in the future because AI is going to revolutionize how we do business and it's going to change how business flows in the future. So all of this are doable by going through the skills of an ML engineer. Um, before you can call yourself an engineer, you need to be very comfortable with cloud environments. Because nowadays people no longer do on-premise servers. Dulu before we were doing Apache servers on-prem, but nowadays everything is in the cloud. So you have to almost like choose an environment for you to master. So for example, in our case, in Immunologica, we're very Google centric. And the reason for that is because once you go into the industry, you understand that Google is very friendly towards startups. So that's how I label my company. We're a startup. If you go to Microsoft, they boleh, they so because they look at enterprise companies. So if you don't make 100 million, they don't care. Okay. So within that environment, of course, you still have to understand the languages, the frameworks, and the libraries. So to become a good ML engineer, you have to master an environment. You have to be very comfortable with the languages and the frameworks and the libraries. I suggest that when doing research, there's a lot of grants actually given by Google to help you out in doing AI. So Google gives out free AI engines based on the huge database that they have. All they want is for you guys to start using that infrastructure, which is the storage, the networking, and computing power. So that's how Google makes money. All right. So this is code. The reason why I have this code here is because everything that I've just mentioned just now is contained in 20 lines of code. So what I'm trying to say here is the actual coding of AI is very simple. And as I will show later on, an ML engineer's work, this is probably 5% of the work, 2%, 3% of the work. So don't get too engrossed in the actual coding. This is a training sequence as when we run the program, the TensorFlow program. This is a training that we see. So over time, it becomes less lossy and more accurate. Okay, so if coding is not the, the biggest premise for an engineer, what is it? So I would like to show to you here a real world problem and why and how does a machine learning engineer or a data engineer actually work. So here we have a problem. The problem is to identify an OK chip in a magnified So say that there's a camera somewhere along the line. You want to remove all the other problems, the other defections. In on pencil tanah, tip tanah, small tip tanah, mesti OK tip. Okay? And you can imagine this thing going very fast. So those are real world engineering problems, and those are the ones that you have to solve. Satu. Then to become an engineer, you must be able to create or develop a framework of constraints. So in this case, the constraints are the camera that captures the pen image is a 4K camera. You need to achieve a 96% accuracy because that's the current human error. So you must at least match the error. Prediction must be within 1 second. Um, the the AI is actually embedded into an edge device, so the footprint is very small. So these are real world problems, and real world problems tak macam pisahkan when we are in a student. It's very different from what we are taught, and belum masuk budgeting and stuff like that, and deadline. So that's why I call this the ugly part. So, so what's the solution? The solution is really as simple as we don't even have to code. You just go to this website, Keras, language. You find out the model that works for you. In this case, it must be less than 20 megabytes. So you can see it's only two, mobile and mobile net, mobile net V2. So that's the only one that we can use. Then you clone this model. You go to GitHub, you clone it. Very simple, 5 minutes work. Then the more important thing is you have to zoom into the impactful area. So how do you do that? You have to ensure that your boundary boxes are correct. Then you tell the engineers, look, you tell the manufacturing line, look, we need better lighting to reduce the noise. Then you have to tell them, look, I need 1,000 images for each of the label that we discussed just now. Then what we do is we crop it and then only we train it. So you can see that none of this involves coding at all. It's really about solving real world problems. Okay? The other thing is you have to transform the model from a Keras model to a PB format. That's in order for you to utilize it in a Windows environment. So what I'm trying to say is, in the beautiful world of academics, you can do whatever you want. But in the real world, when you step into industry, these are the things that are more important for you. Uh, okay, so far, right? So so the observation that we can say here is that impactful data is required uh, to develop a compact footprint. So you cannot simply use any AI that gives you the best accuracy, the best latency. It's always a trade-off. So that's the part of it. That's the problem. Oh, yes, that's the signal for me to finish. Yeah, this. So I just want to show this. So I think we will use CNN for images. The CNN can be for words as well. So at the back there, the one who's taking the pictures, that's part of my team. Take a look. So he has successfully developed, I think, the only natural language processing engine in the whole of Malaysia. So they have scraped, I think, from social media, semua bahasa-bahasa pasar, bahasa Melayu, Singlish, Manglish, English. So I'm proud to say that my team member is there, and he's actually someone who's done it. Basically. A lot of people talk that he's a proper. So here I just wanted to show CNN, whereby um, if you just take the CNN, put attention, that's another concept in AI. You can actually do quite a good. So, so here you can see that imagine that what to input is words. So you go through the hidden layers, the neural network, but you choose which ones to pull and extract, and then it can predict what the next word should be. So that's something natural language processing does. We call this a T5, and as I said before, it comes from Google. So they have extracted, they call 4C, like they have scraped the whole of the internet. I don't know how much it costs to train the data, but what happens is they have a very accurate natural language processing model, which we then develop for Malay language, Manglish. Alright, so the next one is the stuff that you can do with the Focus Malaya. You can do sentiment analysis, you can do natural language inference, you can do question and answering, you can do word sense disambiguation. Those are terms that don't really um, resonate with you guys, but if I say with this engine, um, we can crack exams for you. After you do the exam paper, we give it to the AI, we know whether it's, they can even passing mark to the students. So that resonates with you. So this is the things that you can actually do with. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, all you need to do is throw a book, maybe a book or a few books or 10 books or 100 books, and then it will create the exam papers for you. So this is how powerful this NLP engine is. Okay, so that's the cool part of being an engineer. You can do all this stuff. But once you become an entrepreneur, you go into the ugly phase. I call it the ugly phase because business owners don't care about AI. They care about solving problems. Macam kata tuan tadi, Velcro, they don't care. It's AI ke, robot ke, limited. It's really about solving business problems. So here, I show that in Malaysia, oil and gas is number one. So AI is expected to do to create 402 billion worth of efficiencies, I think, if I'm not mistaken, in the oil and gas industry. So it's a huge industry, but there is nobody in Malaysia who is doing the work for this. So this is what I'm taking up right now. It's a huge world. If you go outside, just very simple. How many assets Petronas have? You can go and look at Petronas assets, boats, vessels, rigs. All of those can use AI to improve efficiency, to improve security, safety. You can embed it in drones. So many things that you can do. But there's nobody taking up this challenge, so that's something that human must respect to do. The next one is everything that we are talking about, the technology, is just a very small fraction of how business owners look at it. The truth is, when you're in the business world, you look at the people and then whether they can talk, whether they can have this culture of data. It's very important. So, just number one, after people, baru process. So, can this AI actually integrate into the business workflow? That's number two. Number three, what is your technology? Because technology is simple, it's easy for them. That's the ugly truth. So, this is how Human Logica as a company um, looks at how to solve this. What we do is we actually go and deep dive into the business processes first. Understand the people and the culture within the company. Baru kita cakap pasal the business flow. Baru kita boleh kata, okay, what you need is X in this flow. And this X can save you 1 million ringgit over 1 year. That's how you create value. So these are real world things that I have faced as an entrepreneur in the AI world. Um, Cuma cakap tadi, we are heavily into oil and gas, but we're also currently doing a new startup in media. I can announce it here. It's called Content IQ. Inshallah, we're going to go and talk to media companies in Indonesia after this exam paper. I think happiness index of the customer. So that's our next thing. Humologica is an umbrella company. So we welcome smart people, people in this room. I think all smart talent. We welcome funding. We might ada dulu. Maybe JKR ada dulu tak tahu. And also we provide the networking. So I have found that in the real world without network, without people, apa yang ada di situ. These are the things. So I welcome people here and people that are virtual world to join us, collaborate with us, talk with us. If you need money, kita pergi cari duit. Kalau kita nak perlu talent, cari talent. If we need networking, then we help one another. Because what I find is AI is still new, it's a baby. We really need to work hard together. Baru dapat berjaya. With that, so I bukan cakap kosong. So I actually help people. This is one of the companies that I'm bringing. They're building the traceability program. Stick Fresh is a company, is a startup that boleh elongate and improve shelf life of fruits. So the idea is put some sort of QR code and track fruits all over the world. So I'm trying to find funding. So with that, I say thank you very much.
Next student Muhammad Faisal. What are the best tools and languages to apply data mining or machine learning algorithm?
Python.
Okay, that's the answer. Python. Okay, for Faisal, you're happy. You're Dr. Kamri. Are you going to use Okay, thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Dr. Nick. Your sharing, I could have sat through another 2 hours if you could spend us. But anyway, it was good. The hard stuff is out of the way. Those are all the theories and what you should be looking at in your studies. What I'll do next is to, I guess, some of the application that Dr. Nick mentioned, we are applying. And in fact, I'm looking to him as our next collaborative partner in what we are doing now. Let me share with you what we have. But before that, let me quickly introduce myself. I'm an electronics engineer by training. And I don't know, I lost my way, I guess. For 15 years, I was with Reuters, a news agency, not as an engineer. And recently, my partner and I founded a couple of companies, one of which is UU Robots. And the other one, interestingly, we have just co-founded my IRA. I'll brief you about that in a short while. In my presentation, I'm just going to touch briefly on my IRA definition of robots. what UU Robot Asia does and the robotic arms used in teaching or as a teaching tool from schools to industry too. And what next? Now, MIIRA is an acronym for Malaysian Autonomous Intelligence and Robotics Association. And in Bahasa is Persatuan Kepintaran Otonomi dan Robotik Malaysia. So there's some autonomous work here. As you can see, the robotic somehow is autonomously made bigger by the system. I didn't do anything. So, yeah, we co-founded, a few of the committee members are there. And in the last few months, we have some over 30 members already. So we are hoping, um, you join us because it's open to students, to youth, to professionals, as well as to foreigners as an associate member. So we want it to be a collective platform in AI and robotics. And the first thing that we've done in collaboration is we collaborated with the Asia Pacific Assistive Robotic Association in Singapore. And we had, just last week, we were involved in a webinar on future workforce. And that was pretty well attended. And then the other thing that we want to do, of course, in terms of robots, I don't know how you see robots, but it really covers anything that is metallic, non-metallic, and promoting R&D. That's why I guess we are here also. Hopefully, we can engage with universities to join into R&D projects. And FEMCA, we are quite interested in it. So definition of robots. I sort of went through this phase where to us, my battery is running low. Okay, robots also needs battery. So this is one of the things that we have always been looking at. What happened if a robot works halfway and then battery decided to go to sleep? And this is one technology I think our government was pursuing, and we are also looking at it from the point of the size, the weight, and also how good it can last. So anyway, this is one of the definition by International Federation of Robotics. Is this the machine resembling a human being? Now, do we need it to resemble a human being? I don't think so. And able to replicate certain human movements? I think more than that, if you look at it. And functions automatically, yeah, that's for sure. And now, chatbots. I think what you are doing has got a lot of computer robots, yeah. And the way I think I would like to describe robot is two parts, yeah. Those that you can categorize by what you see, and those that you can categorize by what they do. So our dear friend here is doing something all in the background. You don't get to see, you don't get to feel it, but a lot of work. In fact, most of the work is done in the background. So as I said, there are lots of things that we need to do that after this talk, I think we can put UniKL in and we can put you in and work on something that we call Malaysia. We just wanted to do that. And in fact, we shared that as well. So anyway, service robots. Oops. How do I go back? So I think in terms of the definition, I like this definition best. Built to assist humans to perform useful tasks, semi or completely automatic, it doesn't matter, but essentially is to perform repetitive and dangerous tasks under what 3Ds, 4Ds, and to improve productivity. So in Malaysia, as you all know, there are a lot of foreign workers. Yeah? It's good to have what you do, and what we do to reduce uh, foreign laborers and also to increase productivity. Now, this one, the business of you have to see the market. So for students, for entrepreneurs, for even lecturers, I don't know how good this statistic is. The statistics is. Various report says that the projected size in 2002 is 12.7 billion US dollars. About I think half of it is in Asia. Yeah, and in 6 years' time, they project it to be 43 billion US dollars. Times by four, how many trillion ringgit? So all we want is a small portion of it, and we should improve our GDP quite a lot by just a few percentage points. At the moment, I think Malaysia, the biggest driver is in D&D. So I look forward to having AI and robotics as the replacement So the compound average growth is about 20% per year, and it probably will rise. So anyway, a bit about UU Robot. Just in case they're curious, people, why is it called UU Robot? If you know Chinese, then you know U is superior. It sounds the U, yeah, means superior. The other U, a slight tone change, means friend. So it means superior friend. So we intend to be your good friend. The company and the robot that we have. So the company that we collaborate with is called Chatbots. They are one of the first modular robot maker in China. And they started by building ODM robots, and as it progresses, I better speed up. They have got this. I talked about this one that can do something does. Come by and take a look. And this was introduced last year. It's a walking, rolling robot that can climb upstairs. And it's a fraction of the one-ton robot. And we will bring this in December of this year, a delivery robot, which costs less than 25,000 ringgit and can do a multitude of things. And of course, before we even throw in the market, we may need to work with you on the natural language processing. Or you, not him, you. Yeah, because it's important. There's a Malaysian context. The English used, the pronunciation can differ from each other. So anyway, one of the reasons why we chose them, I thought I would just show you this, is because I think we can learn from them, from the 10 years of experience. There's so many, what do you call that, tough roads that they have gone through. We are hopeful they'll share with us, and they'll share some with us. So we don't have to, as a startup, we don't need to start up all over again, like we did to do. They also have experience in gaining investment from the public sector. So we are hopeful that we can also use that experience to gain investments into Malaysia. So that the other thing that we learned from them is the word that I use quite a lot recently is collaboration. The robot that I showed you will not work if they don't work with these companies, international companies and China companies, as well as Japanese companies. And if you look at the bottom left, it's one of the top universities in China. So again, university collaboration is a must for projects to go well. As you already correctly pointed, when you do projects, lecturers and academia are free, more creative than business people, because business people also get ROI. What do I get in return? So we have one robot in Cyberjaya. So those interested to take a look at the robot come by. It is very friendly. It doesn't what do you call it, endanger your life. um, Let me now show you a video done by one of your student. So as you can see, the speed and the language. The final testing in China. So we were talking about dangerous zones. Now some hospitals are dangerous zones, so we can use this to I think you get the picture. So this is put together by Amira. So this is, I mean, if you read Chinese, you know what it is, but if you don't, so this is what happens in the near future. I can see that happening very soon in Malaysia. You sit in a restaurant table, a robot comes to you, and asks how you are, what you want to order. All you need to do is say, okay, item number two, steak, for example. Then you will roll back to the kitchen, get the order, 15 minutes, everything is there. So this will save costs also, of course, because then you have fewer workers and also probably hygiene factor also improve because you're putting on the tray. Next, I'm just going to talk about the robotic arm. Why I'm sharing this is because I like the attack my shaking hands with the future, and you see. And of course, before that, I think it's good to share with you a video as well. This device is being used in a primary school in China to teach coding. So software inside the TensorFlow. My apologies. I was just going to show you the unboxing of the cobot that we have used. Let me speed up before. Okay, next, you see, this company is very smart. What they say is something very simple. You put together a motor with some control panel and the driver, and you got a robotic arm. But what they didn't share and what we know is behind it all, you need a control system, you need a servo system and a motor that works in unison. And it took a few years to develop. And the result of which is something that is used by a lot of universities in school. I'll go to that in a short while. Back to robotic education. I think it started with robotic kits, like Lego kits and so on. Then, of course, later on, it went to humanoid-looking stuff. These two are still being deployed in the market. For universities, typically those with budget will have a high-end robotic arm that you have one unit to teach a whole class. So what this company does is simply put it on the desktop. Same function, same programming, the methodology, put it on the desktop. So they see the future in that traditional expensive equipment and limited cheap equipment, replace it with a flexible user-friendly equipment. By the way, that cost only about 7,400 ringgit. And in terms of possibilities, it supports some 20 programming language. So whatever programming language you use, it can be applied. And there are ports as well that you can do some IO devices. So these are the programming language that's being used. You probably use MATLAB for simulation. Now, I mentioned earlier in China, from primary school, they started using AI. I don't know whether Malaysia is being taught as a subject. I know STEM education has been around for a few years, but we really don't know how well it's been taught. So, use case, these are some of the um, application from school. They brought it to industry. Small robot because of the small payload, for example, going. Shops in China use it to weigh gold. Yeah, so from school you can apply to lives as well. So these are the two top universities in China and some of the colleges that use the board. I'll come to the usage. Shanghai Jiaotong University uses it to teach learning. So in the past, as I mentioned, one big robotic arm shared between the whole class. Now, every student or every two students to one robot. They learn faster. They also adapt to learning faster. Internationally, Volkswagen uses it, and Australia, Korea, all these universities. Now, Oxford, quite interestingly, they use it. They bought it a couple of years back. So uh, they use it to control using NLP. Now with the new robot that comes out, even the small 5,000 unit comes with NLP. Yeah. So technology progresses really quickly. And, this is one way I think in terms of educational system educators using these tools will probably help expedite the learning process. I'll run through this quickly as well. University of Technology, Sydney, Australia uses it to teach. This is quite interesting. They build their own simulated industrial robots. So they simulate it based on the real robot and then apply software around it. To good. Malaysia, we have really only just started, so hopefully we will see some real results coming in. In 2018, this company has already started pushing IR 4.0. That was some, what, 4 years ago? Two, 3 years ago. So we have only started talking about it. Some of the simulated production line in Jakarta, in Germany, they use this model, partly because it's cheap and you can showcase quite a lot of things using the robot. Not to leave behind the humanoid robot, they also have STEAM education. And why I brought this up is also because um, in China, they collaborate with East China University. It's my wish that in Malaysia, I can collaborate with industry and universities to come up with a curriculum that we can share in the ASEAN region, not just in Malaysia. And last but not least, I just wanted to show the next thing that is um, robot and the use of robot and AI always start with education. Yeah. So when we say start with education, I don't mean university. You really have to start from primary school so that when your students come, they are already tuned to what they need, um, or with the basic skill set. So it's easy for them to learn. And of course, a future when robotic arms are easy to operate. And what we are saying is for use at home. You know, when you can use robot at home, just a vacuum cleaner in the past, you buy a vacuum cleaner to manually use it. Now you have got those I robots. You switch it on and just do. But that's only the floor. So in the future we can see cleaning the walls, cleaning. Yeah. So that should come very soon. And STEM education, which I mentioned about. Um, So our idea, bringing these two in, is to bring robots closer to us. And of course, through our company, through the association, we are hopeful that this is an area where, if we excel, we can not just sell the technology and solution, we can also sell, or rather market our manpower, our brains, so to speak, to the region. And with that, I thank you. And I didn't start off by taking UniKL or end by taking UniKL. All right.
Okay, thank you, Mr. I would like to ask you one question regarding our new collaboration with Chatbots.
Yep.
The one that I asked you just now,
Yes.
where they were asking about using robotic arms to collect the palm oil, the fruit bunch. Do you think that's feasible?
That is more than feasible. Because if you're talking about collecting, so now we talk having a collaborative robots. So the thing is to have, of course, the right vision, which our friend will do the algorithm. So then you have to, of course, measure the distance between the fruit and whatever you have, and the end effector they can just cut the bunches. And of course, at the other end is the mobility. Now that is a big challenge. How do you carry that on the four wheels? Again, we keep looking to China because the starting point is always very cheap. But I think between China, Korea, and Japan, if we can put some of those technology together, and it will be quite fast to really.
So much.
Ana lecture umbar. Menikah.
I was so afraid that I will so I oh so 15 minit situ lagi ya. Oh,
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank you very much to UniKL for inviting me to give a short talk, very layman kind of presentation as compared to the first two presenters. My name is Megat Zwani Tajudin. I'm from the Jabatan Kerja Raya Malaysia or Public Works Department. I've been with JKR for 33 years. If you can see in the slide, you see lots of yellow and black color font. If you know the history of Masuri, when she got persecuted, she got like a white blood. If I got persecuted, my blood will be black and yellow. And my youngest son, his favorite color is yellow, so I think he also get a yellow color blood soon, and probably join JKR probably to 20 or 23 years later. All right, my talk will be about IR 4.0 in construction industry, the opportunities and challenges, because JKR has been involved. JKR is a technical agency for the government. It's the biggest technical agency where we involve in construction mainly. Construction is mainly, if you talk about JKR, we deal with asset management. Asset management comes from asset creation until asset demolition. So it's a full cycle of activities in construction. The topics that we'll cover today, the first one that everyone been talking about, I think I will skip that for just 1 second. Then will be an overview of construction industry. I will bring you all back to the history. Then a bit about JKR and our strategies, and some fundamentals, challenges, and then I'll talk about the opportunities and also the conclusion. All right, just 1 second of this page. I want to move about it. I have people talks about IR when it's already 4. Before this, no one knows what 1, 2, or 3. Suddenly 4. What happens to 1, 2, and 3? So yeah, it's one. All 4 has one common thing. It's about revolution of the industry. What makes it evolve? It's due to technology. One, IR1 is due to mechanization, when there's steam engine. 2, when there's electricity, the industry evolves from smaller scale, it comes into mass production. 3, when computers comes in, then there's a certain element of automation. Then 4. 1 talks about mechanization, 2 talks about electricity, 3 talks about computer, then 4, then people start talking like probably 20 minutes of explaining all the technologies, because in 4, there's so many technologies involved. Yeah. Okay, so the common thing for IR is there's a new technology that is really involved in the industry. Then what's IR 4.0? Then there's all those technology pillars. Some say 9, now becomes 13, probably will be 20. So probably most of us talks about this 9 technology pillars. Data, augmented reality, additive manufacturing, cybersecurity, Internet of Things, cloud computing, so on. Yeah. But
before that, let's go back to the history. Why construction? Why I say history? Because construction industry is a very mature industry. Some say those who live in the cave, they are already involved in the construction because they modify or create a place for them to stay. Then comes those technology where people build this pyramid. Pyramid is our industry claim that is from our industry. Yeah, so we basically set the, the trend, the fundamentals of us living in the world. Yeah, so we in the construction industry. And then why is it so important of construction industry? We basically, uh, I like to say I'm part of the industry. Yeah? So I would say we or maybe I, by accident. Yeah? So we built the school. And we built the school, then we developed the education institution. Government office, tourism depends on us. When there are high demand on tourism, we need to build hotels. When we need to increase the tourism, we build monuments so people can come and see the monuments. And, yeah. So when there are demands for more transportation facilities, then we build LRT, MRT, railways, and so on. Then once we build it, we need to maintain it. Then construction industry maintain it. Once we do not need it, you need to demolish it. And then construction industry comes in. So it's a full cycle that will not stop from today with the mankind in the world, and when we live in the Mars probably in the future, engineers in construction industry will be remain relevant. Yeah. So yeah. Then we are the essential growth enabler. Like I said again, when the increase in demand in manufacturing, you need to build more factories. When the demand is energy sector, we need to build that tourism and so on. So again, we construction industry has this spillover effect. When an industry, our industry is when growth, for example, in 1998, when our industry is at negative 33% growth, it affects the other industry as well. Metal industry is affected 35.6%. So we have that spillover effect on the other industry as well. Then comes the characteristic of an industry. It's fragmented. What it means by fragmented, to build a building, you need so many different types of knowledge. We need mechanical engineering, civil engineering, electrical engineering. Although we are from the same engineering field, but the concept and fundamentals of that are totally different. We bring in different materials, technology, and skill together to build a product. That's why it's fragmented. It's not if you compare to, for example, a automotive industry, everything is under one roof. The employer are from the same employer. But when it comes to outside industry, all these people are reporting to different entity, different organization. Then we are a very complex product system, whereby it are a combination of customized products made of many components. The third one is that we are very afraid of risk. Why we are afraid of risk? Because if you don't follow standards, your building will not get CCC, the CL certificate of fitness. If you don't follow standard, your building might collapse. If you don't follow standards, then you are bound to certain regulations and requirements of the law. So that is why we as engineers are so afraid of risk. Where does risk come from? From uncertainty. What makes uncertainty when you do things differently? What makes you do things differently? Because you want to change. Why? What makes you change? Because you want to innovate. Yeah. So that is why we are very low at innovation. So the research in the UK, in terms of ranking, our construction industry at the top three, no, the bottom three, in terms of innovation, we are at par with mining industry. So that is uh, why I am now in construction industry, head of competency, innovation, and performance, having very difficult challenge and very long journey in transforming those from during those caveman in pyramid years to change to those like AI or those robotics and so on. Yeah. before that again, okay, let's go this first. This is some statistics. We are quite our in terms of GDP, we among the low contribution to GDP, 4.35 and so on. Again, the speed of economic when manufacturing depends on us. Service sector when we build houses, then property industry depends on the construction industry. Then comes the services, banking, and so on. So that is why construction remains in our GDP, statistics. And again, when it comes to COVID, after PKP, the first industry that was forced by the government to start is construction industry. Although our setup of our construction site is very dangerous and open to, we cannot have one meter distance among those who want to do things in the construction industry. But then the economy demands it. Okay. In terms of growth, we've been experiencing high growth in 2013 and 2014, but then we're looking at a declining rate. However, in terms of number of workforces and number of contractors, surprisingly increasing. The construction industry growth is going down, but the numbers that involved in it is increasing. 10th Malaysia Plan, we contribute 138 billion to the in terms of projects. I do not have the information 11th Malaysia Plan yet. It's probably around that as well, 150 billion as well. Okay. In terms of numbers and numbers and values of government of projects in Malaysia, 30%, 70% are by the private sectors, and 30% by the government. So JKR is basically involved in this part of the value of projects in Malaysia. Before this, we implemented about 50 to 60% of this value, but now we are at 80% because no other Malaysian will now do projects in Malaysia. So JKR will involve in mostly of the projects that implemented government projects in Malaysia. Okay, so basically right now in 2018, 2019, we are doing about 30 to 40 billion projects a year. Okay. So sorry again, this is our vision. This vision was established in 2012. We want to become a world-class service provider and center of excellence in asset management, project management, and engineering services for the development of the nation's infrastructure through creative, innovative human capital and state-of-the-art technology. So my role is to achieve this vision through these three aspects. I need to establish an innovative, creative human capital and make sure that we are using state-of-the-art technology. Okay. Before this, I told you that how laggard of construction industry in terms of innovation, having to adopt new technology in this scheme of our design to make sure that our design more innovative and so on. All of you might know that government also in that we have so many standards, big tapes and so on. Construction industry is being risk averse and of innovation. Then comes government setup that needs so big tapes. So I have two hurdles that I have to go through: the industry itself and the government setup. So it's a quite challenge that we need to strategize to overcome that. So then let's go back to this IR proposal. When I was tasked to look into this aspect of new technology, I chose three as the first my priority to introduce GKR. One is priority. When it comes to priority, then it will fit, then you get big data. And probably by having this, you might establish augmented reality, probably autonomous robot. Then later on, 3D printing. Although, in my personal view, I would like to see our construction industry adopt 3D printing in building our houses, buildings, and so on. It's a long road, but I hope this will be successful in the future. So let's look into that three technologies. Why I chose that? One is the characteristic of these three technologies is that it's ICT and connectivity intensive. It's about IT and unique connectivity. We probably will not have that problem in KL or in areas that have high connectivity and speed. And then this technology is straightforward. It's about sensors. You sense something, you get data. Sensors. Uh, what you need to do with that technology is just use your creativity in the business. How do you use that sensor for? For example, if you have a sensor, you might put it in a vending machine, then the data will feed that every Friday people likes to drink Coke, then Coke should come in every Thursday too. For example, AI for example. So it's just how you want to use that technology, using your creativity. It's not just inventing the technology, it's just using it. And it's cheaper. Before this, every time people comes to JKL and introduce new technology, we're so afraid we do not have money, please do not introduce us new technology. Please find money first, then we will use it for free. Just kidding. That is always in construction. That's when you come, you have to invest 20 million, 30 million. Some people do not have that money. So the good thing now, IR 4.0 is that people come, we have new technology, it's free, use it. But please share the data with us. I'm happy with that. So if you look into list of MOUs, collaborations, I have probably 10 pages of list of companies and universities that collaborate with us because it's free. So government do not have money. Dr. Nazila is free. It's 30, we build 30 billions of projects, but we do not have money to invest in innovation and technology, although the vision says that we need to use state-of-the-art technology and innovative. So yeah, so top management, yes, you're good. You do not ask me money at all. So yeah. So it's the key thing if you want to collaborate. That's how we've been doing with UniKL successfully. All right. So having said that, our strategy is that we have our center of excellence technology, which is in Malacca. We collaborate with universities to look into all aspects of innovation and research. We have our strategy framework which has clear and measurable innovation objectives. And we started off with our task force, a smaller group of team, very dynamic and young engineers who becomes the think tank and change agent in JKR. We have 25,000 people in JKR throughout Malaysia. There are 10 of us. These 10 are being tasked to change 25,000 people in JKR. So yeah. Okay, so what happens after that? So we started off, this is in the package, we started off by introducing our IoT box in our traffic lights. We have about 13,000 traffic lights throughout Malaysia. We do not change the traffic light, although 5 years back, vendors of traffic light says that we want to change all your traffic light with smart traffic lights. How much it will cost? It will cost you 80,000 ringgit per traffic light. So times 4 in conjunction with 4 traffic lights, then you have to invest 300,000 per junction, multiply by 13,000, then yeah, you will not get hospitals and schools and so on. So I'm telling you, okay, then we met TM, can you let's just do IoT, let's just build a small IoT box, get the data and transfer to the cloud, and then let's get Dr. Nicholas to analyze it, and you get the data for free, I will get the solution for free, and then yeah, we get a smart traffic light in Kelantan. Our aim is that our traffic light is as smart as when it comes to Friday, hari gaji, our traffic light will behave differently. Because people will start going back home early because tomorrow nak tidur awal, tomorrow let's go shopping for example, or tonight have a date with a girlfriend and so on. So that's the aim. Yeah, AI boleh buat kan. Yeah. Every Ramadan you will get after 4:30 the behavior of traffic light will be different from other months because people start to go back home early to go to pasar malam and so on. So yeah, we started with Kelantan about 30 traffic lights. It's so we're working with TM will get the data, we get the intelligence, and then yeah, we get the internet connection, then yeah, we get our smart traffic lights. This is all the data we have, the analytics that we do. Then still learning, the traffic light still learning. So I cannot claim that it's intelligent yet because of the data that we have. It's not has the traffic light or the IT box or the algorithm has not been developed as much as intelligent as we expect. Then comes another collaboration with a small IoT startup in Jaya. My staff is kesian doctor. So dia buat macam-macam. We did not pay them at all. Yes, I kesian too. But then they want to do it. So I'm not forcing you to collaborate with JKR, but I have this idea. We have a problem. If you think that I do not want, I said the person, I do not perah. You want to perah, you sampai kering, and then you lari from JKR. That's if you think that you already tried out from what I've been asked you tell me, I will find something to make sure that you feel it's beneficial for us to collaborate. So it is from a design thinking approach where we feel that our toilet in hospital was not managed properly. Managed in the sense that our facility management company who manage our toilet get paid from based on the size of the toilets. If you compare Hospital Kajang, if you live in Kajang, and if you compare to hospital in probably in Kuala Kangsar, the behavior of the people in Kajang and Kuala Kangsar are totally different, although the toilet remains the size of the toilet the same. Because in Kajang, most of we realize that the patient in Kajang, 70% from the construction, those workers, Indonesians and Bangladeshis that work in construction, but then in Kuala Kangsar are normal village people. Probably there are more sopan or go home and use the toilet instead of using then our contract remains, we pay you based on the size of the toilet. What we do is that we put sensors, simple sensors that sense bau, which is sense ammonia, and hydrogen sulfide. And we also sense, we put a sensor of acoustic sensor. Having also we traffic sensor, how many people goes in and out. Then from this sensor, we found we found surprising data. One is that probably surprising to me, not surprising to the others. Acoustic in ladies' toilet is quite high compared to men. High and low because you guys talk in toilets. That means that translating that you need to build bigger toilets for women. You stay longer, and that's why you always see long queues. But in JKL standards, our toilet size remains the same. It's the same. We do not have that standard. I mean, we cannot define why we need bigger toilets for women. We go to toilet more than men. It's not. It's just that you stay longer and do things longer. Secondly, um, hospital in Gajah, we realized that when they know at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, the air quality is at the worst. And those doctors and nurses started to feel afraid why it's like our toilet is so not in hygienic form during when there are people inside. Okay. Then we realized we designed our circulation fan. It's linked to our either sensor or linked to our light. When you turn on your light, then the sensor starts spinning. During those time, no one used the toilet. Then the air quality accumulated in the toilet. That is why it's at bad form when there was no one there during. So those fundamentals have been used for almost like 20 or 50 years, just solved by putting a sensor by IR 4.0. It's a revolution in construction industry as a whole. People, when I present this, why do this? And I present it, people say, oh, it's a very long O. So we change the concept from just having this. So so that is one of the examples that you can do big changes from this simple technology of IR just putting sensors, which is free. Yeah, like it's free. So then we have all these additional requirements of toilet papers and then smell what you call it, sabun and so on. Then we have this installed in the Kronas toilet. Uh, uh, we this tissue paper, and then when we realize that people can start pressing to complain, there's no tissues. This one workers in toilet tak perlu bang for this toilet perempuan tak payah letak this icon. No, toilet lelaki tak perlu letak lagi this icon because no one asked about this tissues in toilet lelaki. So then we put this letter. We remain as this. Betul. It's no one complains about tissues in men's in the toilet, but it's like high in women's in the toilet. So I mean, it's pure. I mean, if you analyze it, then you get pure artificial intelligence, and then that was can invest only on women's toilet for tissue. So now tak right. Yeah. Okay. So, so next we have this. We collaborate with Maxis and this company called Untitled Labs to participate in this narrow IoT challenge because in our most of our traffic lights using loop sensor. Loop sensor is that we install like a metal detector in the jalan to sense kereta lalu. Uh, but the problem with loop sensor is that it cannot detect motorcycles or bicycles. So if at 2 o'clock, if you're riding a motorcycle, we will stand there forever until 7 o'clock in the morning. When the car comes in, then the traffic light become green. So we remain as it is because we cannot find cheaper solution because we need to put a CCTV to solve the problem or maybe use a timer instead of the sensor. So we work on with using radar where when we send signal we get something back, then we change that behavior of traffic light based on the information that it gives back. So it's a very cheap solution, radar. Before this radar has been using military, we are now using it in a smaller, simplified version, and then we managed to have our loop sensor replaced with radar, which is installed at the pole rather than inside the road. Okay, so we feel that's a big opportunity because the behavior of our drivers in Malaysia is similar to Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, and so on. We have so many motorcycles in ASEAN. If we manage to successfully do this, we will actually basically penetrate the whole ASEAN region, which is about 18 million vehicles a day. Okay. Then we expand our radar technology by having this installed in our speed sign. Basically, by installing this radar, you can measure numbers of traffic as well as the speed. Uh, Maybe you guys feel it's until now, when you if you see some maybe you see people have we build a temporary tent on the side of the road and people with tables and people start using this. Maybe you've seen this. People counting cars to so that JKR will understand whether we should expand the road or change the setting. So we call it the task for basically. Okay. So by having this sensor, we do not need to berzikir lagi di jalan. This information will be fed to us. So again, this if you see this, don't worry, we will not summon you. We will not basically want to inform you that you are speeding. Research by this is our collaboration with UiTM. Research by UiTM says that if you reduce your speed by 1 kilometer per hour, you will reduce 4% of traffic accidents. It's proven research all about. So we mean if you use 1%, 1 kilometer you get 4%. 4% is not a lot based on statistics of relation to the accidents in Malaysia. So when installing these two now in Selangor, in Kelang and Sungai Buloh, we are fully, if it is successful, we're gonna have it. We install it at black spot area where areas where accident prone. So if it's successful and we manage to educate our drivers by looking at this to slow down, this will be implemented throughout Malaysia. So hopefully this if you look at this slow down, so that my project will be successful. Yeah. Um, so apart from that, you can do an analysis, the average speed every day, every assistant time, uh, then recall the police to do enforcement rather than having enforcement reactively. You will be proactively do enforcement so that we will get our drivers behave on roads. Yeah. Then this is my uh, latest project. In most of our big projects, we install cameras. The aim 10 years ago is for the bosses to see what is the progress of the building. Every day ambil gambar, and then 3 months after, oh, dah nak tingkat dulu. Dah tingkat 4. Oh, there's nothing happened. Something like this. By using the same camera, having all those AI analyze the behavior, because project management says you need to manage 4M: material, machine, money, manpower. I'm taking 2 of the M's. Three actually: machines, material, and manpower. Because every contractor has to submit their resources before they do their work, daily resources. Right now, contractors comes in, workers will sign their site ID, how many people at site. By having using the same camera, analyze it, then we know how many workers are there at our site. Then we can actually penalize contractor if we feel if their project delayed, and then we compare to the manpower, the 4M, but with just 2M or 3M, then you do not comply to what you planned, that's why your project delayed. So this is our latest collaboration with Celcom and a few others. It's at early stage. We're supposed to have our site in Sepang today this morning, but we can cancel because of the COVID. So we're going to start back probably 2 weeks time. So by analyzing the behavior or the characteristic of a machine, then you'll know what type of machine that we have at site. Because even we are looking into the lorries that's come in, whether how many cement or materials such as they bring in, and how many it brings out. There are certain cases that contractors comes and bring a few lorries of cement, claim APR, and then they bring it out to other projects. So yeah, so that will actually an additional features that we can benefit from that. Yeah. So that comes the augmented reality. We are working also with UniKL again for free. Our augmented reality, not helmet yet, augmented reality with a phone, whereby if you look into this, because sometimes new engineers or contractors cannot visualize what's going to happen. So by having this augmented reality, then we'll see, because our design, we are using building information modeling now. You have all those models. Instead of just looking at the models and feel good about it, let's use it for better benefit. We can visualize it so that the installation of our mechanical electrical requirement will be fulfilled based on, so that there will be no clashes and opening up of the ceiling again to reinstall and so on. Then probably after that we can have it our smart helmet, and that will actually measure the health of our workers and so on, together with the augmented reality features. Okay, that is an example. That is what we've been doing. So how, I mean, from that experience, I realized that in industry, like construction industry, cannot compare with IT, pharmaceutical, and so on, because they've been so used of having changes almost every day. Construction industry is not like that. So when it comes to ideas, you have to be fast and in small scale. Don't use it. Do it in big scale, because the risk of failure is quite high, and the impact from the failure is very damaging. So that's why I'm doing it in smaller scale, prove it to those in industry, then they will see, okay, this is what we need. Yeah, so I cannot tell in words, because by telling you in words, they can just imagine pyramids and structure and bridge. They cannot see it. Then again, I totally agree with the rest of the speakers. We need to collaborate. I mean, we cannot do it alone. We have the pain points, we have the problems, we have the ideas probably. The rest is to make it happen together. Collaboration is no longer a choice. It's no longer. It's a must. It's a must. It's a must. If not, I mean, we cannot just make it happen. We need to do prototype first because the technology is basically, I have mentioned basically a combination of different technologies, and so that we can make it happen. So get feedback first. That is why our smart toilet comes from Hospital Kajang, then we get feedback from Petronas, then we install it in Putrajaya, and then we install it in Wisma Putra, then we get a better form of our prototypes and our iteration. Okay, so again, how does it? Uh, how do I make it work? I mean, I cannot say it's working or successful yet, but this is based on my PhD research. That everyone knows that by having by, by innovating, you definitely will increase your performance. No one argue about that. You innovate because innovate is for change for better. So if you do that, then you get organization. Everyone agrees. But when it comes to construction industry, let's innovate, people start running away. Yeah? People start because there's so many excuses, there's so many projects. We have 30 billion projects. You want me to innovate? Something like that. So what we need to do, I have to get people outside from the industry. I cannot get people from inside the industry. I mean, I get some people that support, but outside need to be part of it to make it happen. Because of the limitation and the characteristics. The leadership plays a role. Why leadership plays a role? Although, yes, of course, leaders lead. But when it comes to the industry, we have two types. I mean, leaders have to give in two ways. One is that when they deal with contractors, consultants, and so on, you have to be transactional. If the contract says this, do that. Don't do something else. Because the contract says that. Okay, when it comes to people within the organization, you need to be transformation. Let's innovate. You are good. I want to give inspiration to you. I mean, look at those people. By innovating, you become better person. All those type of transformational leadership. So the difficult part of being an engineer in a construction organization, you have to behave in you have to have two faces. Yeah. So that is the difficult part. So again, the research says that leadership style plays an important role. So and also external. So in better, I try to have it use a different term, utilizing. But then yes, I'm utilizing the strength of others, so that we can actually reduce the need of having investing a lot in terms of resources and funding. Our strategic partnership includes academic institutions, manufacturers, government bodies, international bodies, and so on. Of course, I love to work with startups, not because we are big and we can bully them and so on. It's just that one startup says that time is our business because if you elongate the process, it's no income for us. So they want to do it fast. So when I deal with startups, this startup, I had a meeting yesterday, and 2 days after that, Dr. Market, we want decision. I said, okay, okay. I'm actually reporting to them. As a big organization, government organization, people thought, oh yeah, government, yeah. But now I'm like, yes, I will report to you, I'll give you the data. So I love doing that because innovation needs big push. Don't worry, you can always push me and say at 2 p.m. At 2 a.m. I will answer tomorrow morning. So leadership style, again, this is the difficult part because when it comes to contractors, involved contracts, I need to become, transactional, whereby if you do work, I will reward you, If you don't, I will not reward you, penalize you. I have to manage you. If you deviate from specification or standard, I have to bring you back to the main direction. But when it comes to within our organization, who wants to innovate and so on, I have to become the role model. If I want them to innovate, I have to innovate first. I cannot be innovate. Yes, done. That's why I have to show that something, then they realize, oh, what is also doing the work, let's do the work together. So I have to intellectually stimulate, ask the right question, because uh, for you to stimulate ideas, if you ask the right question and you get started with these ideas, I have to inspire them. Right? In the moment, it's difficult for us to reward. If you do good, you will not get promoted next year, probably you get promoted 5 years after. Together with those who do not innovate, based on luck and so on, I cannot give you increment because you do work well. So yeah, okay. So yes, so this is the behavior, the challenges that we have in our construction. Let's take that. So the challenges, like I said earlier, the environment itself. Although we have been changing, we think that we have moved fast, the technology advances even faster. So uh, the, in construction industry it becomes more difficult. Then it involves broad representation of key players, contractors, consultants, and so on. People, again, is resistant to change. Uh, we demand drastic transformation, fast incremental. This is some always this one. I mean, we introduced this one mobile apps because in one of the our design process, we need to measure the amount of light, whether the lux is the measurement of lux is high enough so that the environment of you learning in class suitable. So what we need to do is that you need to have a size, to know the size of this area, you need to know the height of this ceiling, you need to understand the lux value of every light, and then you measure. Then you need to refer to four tables. That takes about 30, probably 20, 30 minutes to have an outcome. So we introduced a simple mobile app with some complex calculation with lookup and so on, which is actually IR2 or IR4 or IR3. Then you get that result. You need 20 of these lines in this room. Then those who risk averse, those who strong hold of the basic and fundamentals, no, we cannot do this. Our engineers will not understand the fundamentals of calculating lux. So scrap this project. We still tell our engineers to calculate it manually because they will not understand the fundamentals. You agree? Okay. But then IR4.0 say that there are bigger opportunities, technologies that you need to learn. This is a simple thing.
You need fundamental, you need the core value.
Fundamentals we learn from the university do not make them memorize the fundamentals.
As a daughter of a civil engineer, I do not agree.
Let's not agree to not to disagree. Okay, but then yes, this will the reason that it's said because we want to maintain the relevance of the profession. But then if there's technology in front of you, if you hold technology, maybe you can hold probably a few years. After the technology will then actually push you, and you will no longer relevant. So this will not be an issue because what uh, waits in front of you, there are more opportunities in technology. We do not expect that our robots, the AI has become something demanding. We stop telling people, oh no, you still need to calculate manually, and no one, the opportunities of AI will not be grabbed by our engineers. Yeah. So in my last slide, sorry, I think for time, it's no longer about us running. It's we need to lead, cannot just skip lah. I up to I can just go whatever I skip. And then the long part, yeah? Exploit the technologies. I like when drone first introduced to the public, where do you see people use that drone? Armed forces. You do not see, I mean, armed forces. But as a public, where do you see people use drone? You pick up park and a very elite establishment, anak orang kaya play drone as their toy. Yeah? If you buy a drone, you get that box, you unbox it, if you read the manual, how to fly a drone, it will just tell you how to fly a machine or a toy. By exploiting it, when you put a camera, then it becomes a different thing. When you put a high definition camera, you can do modeling of our building. Then you get rather than uh, you get a model by using a drone. If you put a fertilizer on a drone, you get to do whatever necessary in the agriculture. So that's what I meant by you need to exploit the technology. Maybe you can invent new things, but I 4.0 rather than doing that, just exploit it. By exploiting it, you actually innovate because you use it for different needs. Yeah? You need to accelerate. That's why our training is very important. So my role is to make sure you innovate. Before you innovate, you need to have your knowledge. That then competency comes in. Then at the end of the day, you get performance. So you need to transform, make it that organization become dynamic. So by that, I thank you. It's a long question. It's a very long question. Sorry. Question: what is the commercial viability for the development of such companies that are coming into the Malaysia market wishing to use innovative technologies, considering how there's a lot of existing that are not selling housing office space? It is big factor that may hinder new players that want to invest or utilize using AI. Okay, I think to answer that question, I would like to share my experience in bringing in um, 3D printing in Malaysia. When I talk about 3D printing, first time in the construction industry, oh, you want to build model? No, a house. Oh, you want to build a model, a bigger model? No, a house. Oh, you want to build the spare parts of the house? No. I want to build a house with 3D printer. How do you print? You put papers together, you get a house. So it's a very long conversation. Then at the end of the day, I get frustrated. I play a video. This is how they build house in Dubai. And they always ask, are you serious? Yes, I'm really serious. So I've built a house, low cost house at 80,000 or 60,000 ringgit by having a 3D printing, maybe built at 30,000. In economic terms, it's very, I mean, why would you want to reject that idea? You get a house probably in 3 months for half of the price, or you want to choose a more expensive house and build in 2 years. So it's a straightforward logic, but it was not successful. I mean, no one. I've been talking alone, probably in a focus group, and people talk about yes, very good, but when it comes to industry, no one actually want to really take up that idea fast. One of the reasons is that again, that technology cost it's not free. It's a long term investment. Uh, Government has to come in. The machine has to. That is what. Then now, we can invest in technology because we invest. The machine is there. Then instead of every contractors buy the machine, we provide that service. You can rent it or use it or just maybe there will be a technology service provider that provide that services rather than buy the machine. Only then kita start lah spend 10% of that 30 related project to buy machine. Yang lain-lain tu kita kena letak free lah. The machines tu then we can start invest. That's how we. So it needs a big push and a very small person in the industry. Collaboration, hopefully at the end of the day, people start realizing it because if not, then we will remain as depending on foreign manual labor. It's a problem. I think the only solution is to use whatever technologies that we have to reduce it. Because I've been telling that even people were saying our gaji is not good enough, that's why Malaysia is not working construction site. Yes, but if you pay people as much as you pay for oil and gas, then yes, I will work in the construction industry. I will work in that construction industry. But if you just pay 20% or 10% from the foreign workers, no one will work in construction industry because of that 3D punya. It's just coincident, dirty, demeaning, and dangerous punya environment. Then we replace it with another 3D, which is 3D printing. So, macam pantun pula kan. So, I hope I answered the question. Ada lagi ke? Ada. Yes, okay, thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Modan. So I think we already done the application. Okay, cut. So we need to proceed with taking photos as a kenang-kenang and everything. And also, thank you so much. I think we already got mentioned this morning.
Stop.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you those who joined us via Teams and